You're listening to The Drew Yari Show.
That's the wine and diner with kings and queens.
You're looking at the man. You're listening to The Drew Yari Show.
Alright, what's going on, guys? It is Thursday, as usual, when I'm recording this. Another episode of this podcast. I currently have Raw on because I missed Raw. I work Mondays, so I never get a chance to watch Raw. And I never watch the recordings, which I probably should, just so I can know a little bit more to talk about on the show. Usually, if any, I'll just end up watching like the condensed, highlights that somebody puts on YouTube. But I mean, I was intrigued because of Raw Underground. Because everybody was kind of talking about it. It was kind of a mixed bag. Like, there were people that liked it, and then there were people that hated it. And, I don't know, I wanted to give it a chance, because I know Kevin Castle, who's going to be on the show next week. I'll put out an announcement as soon as I talk to him. He's going to be on the show next week, again. He basically just said, him and Don Tony pretty much broke it down, which was just like, if you're going to complain about how bad Raw is, just don't watch it. And it's kind of a half and half statement for me, depending on who you are. Because as podcasters, we have a responsibility to watch these shows, just so that way we're not just sitting here, sounding like jackasses. I'm not trying to speak for everybody, but DT would say the same thing. Kevin Castle, Soup would say the same thing. We kind of have to watch these shows because we can't just sit here and say, "Oh, that sucked." Well, did you watch it? No, but I heard how bad it was. I watched like a 30-second clip of it. I said no thanks. So, I mean, Kevin Castle's right. DT's right. If you think these shows are so bad, don't watch them. Just plain and simple, don't watch it. He tried to give the benefit of the doubt. And I try to give things the benefit of the doubt. I don't like to come on here and be Mr. Negative. Even though I kind of do the same thing with AEW. It's just AEW. AEW will do good things that I like. And then they'll do bad things that I like. NXT, same thing. NXT, even though I prefer NXT, they'll do things that I don't like. They'll do things that I'm just like, meh. And for the most part, they'll do things that I do like. Same thing with, if I ever do come across an episode of Raw or SmackDown, if I'm able to sit down and watch both of them, I'll find something that I like. Same thing from a pay-per-view. Same thing from, movies I watch or TV shows. I like the Marvel movies, but there's things that the Marvel movies did that I don't like. What the fuck is this? It's an iTunes thing. But yeah, I currently have Raw on. The first match, I literally just turned it on right when I started recording. It's you got MVP versus Apollo Crews for the actual United States Championship. Well, not actual, but it's for the United States Championship. Apollo Crews is looking good. As most of you would know, he was out, for I think a month and a half, I think, due to COVID. Now he's back, so so good for him. And I'm glad WWE didn't just do their usual, "Oh, you got sick, so now we're just gonna put you back in catering." Like, no, they're actually letting him go out there and work, and he looks good. And again, I'm happy for a guy like Apollo, who was given another opportunity to really work, because I've always liked him. I've always thought he was very talented. He just needed something. He needed a spark, and this is really what COVID has kind of been the worst and best, the best and worst thing that happened to wrestling, because as far as worst, there's no fans. As far as best goes, it's giving a lot of these guys the green light to go out there and work. Apparently Daniel Bryan is behind a lot of this. So it's good to see a guy like Apollo get a lot of screen time. It's good to see Shelton Benjamin get screen time. Shelton Benjamin, part of the faction with Bobby Lashley and MVP, the Hurt Business, which I like it. That's good. I like that title. If they ever put out a shirt for the Hurt Business, I might just buy it. So they're going to commercial break. Same thing with someone like Angel Garza getting a ton of screen time. Andrade getting a ton of screen time. I'm happy for these guys. I'm happy for these guys being able to go out there and work. And hopefully it's soon. Hopefully we can get crowds back. I say this ad nauseum. Wrestling needs crowds. It needs that live audience. It needs that live audience, that real live audience, that genuine reaction, and not, employees, not students from the performance center sitting there and wearing these shirts. And I mean, I don't want to say that they're pretending, but they're obviously being told, boo this guy and cheer this guy. So, I don't know. I mean, AEW, I don't know what they tell them. I don't know if they tell them, hey, go out there and have fun. But I can't really speak on it. But yeah, just wrestling needs a crowd. It needs fans in attendance. Hopefully by the end of the year. Hopefully. That's a big hopefully. So, I mean, and since we're, on the topic of wrestling, wrestling was pretty popular last night. We'll get into the ratings in a bit, but talk about NXT. The first match on the card was Dakota Kai versus Rhea Ripley, number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. I just gotten home. We were out doing some chores, or not chores, but just running some errands. So I just came into NXT when it was already about 5-7 minutes in. Good match between these two. These two surprisingly matched up pretty well. Rhea is not really a big girl. She's very tall, and she's got muscle on her. But she can go out there and work with a lot of women that are not as tall as her. She can go out there and have good matches. Dakota is really coming into her own. She, we said this about her a while back, is that she was green as fuck. Now she's getting there. Now she's able to go out there and have good matches. She looks good, in more ways than one. She has her ring attire looks good. She looks good, but her style out there looks good. It works. She seems like she's starting to feel a lot more comfortable in this heel role, where as opposed to I'm mad at Tegan Knox because she didn't care about me. Now she's just like, F the fans. I'm just going to do what I want. No. Who the hell was that? Raquel Gonzalez? No Raquel. I don't know where she's been. If anyone's listening to this, where has Raquel Gonzalez been? I mean, does she have COVID? I mean, that's probably the only thing I can think of is does she have COVID? And if she does, that sucks. So, Dakota Kai wins after Mercedes Martinez blindsides Rhea Ripley while the ref isn't looking. And then you have Mercedes Martinez lit up a nightmare to make a more pronounced statement. That's the name of her move, which is a pretty good. That's a good move for her. It works, and I like the name. So now we're getting a Mercedes Martinez and Rhea Ripley feud. Hey, which I'm down for that. I mean, John Draper, as much as I love the guy, I just couldn't agree with this. He said I'm paraphrasing, the ship, has sailed as, for Rhea being a big star. For one thing, it's NXT. At the end of the day, NXT is still a farm system. It's still a developmental system. So there's no way you can be buried in NXT. And Rhea's 24? She's 23, 24. She still has a long ways to go. So this match, Rhea and Io, or just Rhea going after the championship in general, it'll happen. they're just not going to rush it. They're not going to rush her back into that spot because there's so many other girls in NXT that are vying for that spot. So they're still making her the star. They just want to wait because more than likely this Io and Rhea matchup is going to happen more than likely at the NXT before WrestleMania. That's pretty much it. Like, there's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Dakota, they're going to basically feed her a lot, pretty much as many women on, pretty much all the women on the show, because she already went through Tegan. Now it's going to be Dakota, which I'm fine with. I don't have a problem with that. Io more than likely will win, and by more than likely I mean she will. Who else is on the show that they can wrestle? I mean, they want to make Shotzi Blackheart a thing, so I'm pretty sure that'll be the next match. That might be a matchup down the line. Maybe Mercedes Martinez. Maybe that's a big maybe. Who else other than that? I don't know. But yeah, sorry about that. I had to take a little break. I had to take care of some personal business. But yeah, Mercedes and Rhea, I'm fine with that. That's a good matchup. Later in the show, one of the female announcers caught up with the Robert Stone brand and asked them, why did Mercedes attack Rhea? And Robert Stone said pretty much, she's not done with us, and we're not done with her. And that's pretty much it right there, which makes sense. So they're going to continue this feud with the Robert Stone brand and Rhea. Next, you got Bronson Reed versus Shane Thorne. Haven't seen Shane Thorne in a while. All right match. I like Bronson Reed. He has a believable look for him. They try not to make him look too soft as this ass kicking big guy. So I like how they don't try to make him look too soft. He's almost like what they wanted to make Braun Strowman in a way until they decided to fuck that up. So, fingers crossed. But yeah, I like Bronson Reed. I like him a lot more than I used to. He's starting to grow on me. The guy has talent. The guy can work. He can go out there and move. And Apollo Creed is still the U.S. champion. Now he has the new U.S. championship. Good for Apollo Creed again. Again, good for Apollo Creed. I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's getting an opportunity again. So, anyways, back to Bronson Reed. This is basically just a filler match. Nothing special about it. What's it call it? Bronson Reed, Death Valley Driver into the Tsunami to take the win. So they're giving him momentum. Next match, you have Damian Priest versus Oney Lorcan and Ridge Holland. The debut of Ridge Holland from NXT UK. Triple threat for the North American Championship qualifier. Kind of predictable because walking into this, a lot of people were thinking Holland was going to win. I was thinking in my head, there's really no chance in hell that Priest, was going to lose because I'm starting to like Priest a lot more than I used to because maybe it's because I just didn't get him. But in the beginning, he didn't work. He didn't work for me. I didn't understand the character. Now I get it. The guy is believable. He's legit. The guy looks like an ass kicker. He has a good voice. The guy has a good voice for his character. He doesn't talk and look like most of the other guys on the show. He actually looks like a wrestler. It's refreshing to see more guys out there that actually look like wrestlers. I have nothing. Again, now I don't have a problem with the Adam Coles and whomever, but Priest is kind of a breath of fresh air. He's a badass. He appeals to everybody. He has the look down pat of, the women want to fuck him, and the men want to be like him. He's a much cooler version of Scott Hall. I mean, obviously he's a fan of Scott Hall since he wears that jacket with the white blood going down it. So, but Priest wins the match. Went by a lot quicker than I thought it'd be. I mean, was it me? I was paying attention. I don't know. The matches seemed very quick. Oni Lorcan, it's good to see him get an opportunity. Ridge Holland did well, but I don't know. Maybe I need to watch it again. I wasn't too sold on it. Just my opinion. But Priest wins, so he goes to the NXT North American Championship ladder match. What should I call it? On the way to his car, Priest told in an interview that the whole tournament was made for him. While he's talking, Bronson Reed overhears him, and they confront each other in the parking lot. Not in a friendly way, but in a, I'll beat your ass next week. No, I'll beat your ass too. So that's a match. Kind of proving William Regal's whole thing about nobody makes the matches but me, and yet these matches are being made. So there's that. Then we got Keith Lee versus Cameron Grimes. I thought this match was what it was. It was just made to make Keith look like a badass, which this is the first time I've seen Keith actually look like a big guy. Like, he wasn't smiling, he wasn't being jovial. I mean, he sold for Cameron, but not too much to where it made him look weak. And he just proceeded to beat the shit out of Cameron Grimes and wins. Then the lights go out, which I don't know. I listen to Cornette's podcast, and Brian Last, always makes like the reference of like, Cross and Scarlett must be in cahoots with the lighting guy, because the lights always go out every time they come in. Like, I don't have a problem with it. I just think it's funny. Like, anytime I see it now, I laugh, and I'm like, damn, but the lighting people must really like these guys. But you see Cross come on screen and tell Lee, you better give me what this is on your head until you give me what I want. And he's already choking a guy out, and he's already just walking across bodies backstage of people he fucked up. I think one of them was Oni Lorcan. The guy he was choking out, I don't know who that was. If somebody can tell me who that was, that'd be great. But yeah, this match will happen soon. I'm disappointed it'll happen, because this will be a match best suited for next year. I mean, if any, Adam Cole should be getting a rematch. I don't see why he doesn't get a rematch. Just so he can make Keith Lee look good and go over. But all right, sorry about that, people. But yeah, where was I with Lee? The first match in should have been, Adam Cole, because Adam Cole will get his rematch. And, since it's TakeOver 30, that should be a big match. These two can obviously work against each other. And that'd be a nice way to send off, Adam Cole to the main roster, which is more than likely where he's going to go. But they decided to have him wrestle an ex-punter from the NFL. But, we'll get into that later. But they obviously want to rush this. I don't know why. Because... anyone that wants to watch Wrestling Soup, the show will be delayed until 9:30. Joe is celebrating is celebrating with his birthday with his family. So just that. Wrestling Soup will be at 9:30. 9:30 Eastern, I'm assuming. But I would imagine this match is gonna end in controversy. There's gonna be a fuck finish. Either it's gonna be a disqualification or double count out, or maybe not double count out, but maybe a disqualification, maybe a double knockout. Like, these two beat the shit out of each other so much that they knock each other out. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't like the fact that this match is being rushed. I really don't. This is a match that can be at Mania next year, or the takeover before Mania. That's assuming that there's going to be fans in attendance. Legado del Fantasma makes an example of Breezango. They kidnapped Breezango and put him in a white car, whatever you want to call it. Van. There you go. And they kidnap Fandango. They beat him up, and then Escobar warned Isaiah Swerve Scott that that he will be the next if he kept talking about the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. I like Escobar. I really do. I think he's a lot different than most cruiserweights because he actually looks like a wrestler. He looks legit. He looks like somebody you don't want to fuck with. You know, the guy's talented. The guy can talk. Like, the guy can really talk. I like his promos. The guy can work. I like the faction that he has with those two guys. But this whole segment, this is where this show needs to be TV 14. And, you know, let me explain. It's like, if, let's say, I'm walking down the street with my friend, all of a sudden I get kidnapped by these two guys. And I'm put into this van, and I'm gone for hours on end. I end up being brought back, you know, to the performance. Let's not say the performance center because I'm not trying to sound honestly, but you know, you're waiting at my house because you're worried sick. I'm brought back to the house, you know, and there's not a scratch on me. There's not one, you know, mark. There's not any bruises or pelts. I look fine. If I just got kidnapped and was held hostage for hours, I should have blood. I should have marks. I should have scratches. I should not be able to walk. I should look like complete shit. I should look like I just went through a meat grinder. So, basically, a lot of people say, you know, we want the Attitude Era back. The Attitude Era will not work in today's climate at all. But wrestling does need to be TV 14. Because at the end of the day, wrestling is not a family-friendly product. Two people going in there and you know, play, you know, whether it's fake or not, two people going there and fighting and hitting each other with steel chairs and kendo sticks, that is not family friendly in the least bit. So, you know, and AEW really took advantage of that this week, and we'll talk about AEW. But this is where, you know, the TV 14 aspect needs to come in. You know, Fandango should have had marks on him. He should have had bruises. He should have had, you know, cuts on his face, indicating that this guy just went through hell for the past, you know, few hours. So, I mean, I like the segment. That's the only thing I hate about it. This is where wrestling needs to be more TV 14. Also, where the fuck is Drake Maverick? Like, does Drake Maverick have COVID? Because this seemed like it was going to be his, you know, a big feud for him, and then he just went away. To me, does he have COVID? That's a legit question. Because he just went away. That whole Cruiserweight tournament was built around him, and then he ended up getting a contract, and he just disappeared after the Great American Bash. So I don't know. I'm worried. I'm legit worried. Does he have COVID or something going on? Then you got Tegan Nox versus Indy Hartwell, short match. Indy Hartwell is, you know, talking shit, saying, I beat Shotzi Blackheart, and she's not even that good. You're not even that good. And Tegan Nox wins with the shiniest wizard. Let's see what happens next. Pat McAfee comes out for commentary with Tom Phillips, and then you can hear Mauro Ranallo and Beth Phoenix in the background. They're not there, but you can hear them in the background. Which, that's the one. Again, another thing I'm nitpicking is that if they're not going to be there actually, you know, commentating, why not show a live feed? Why not show a live feed of Mauro, you know, and Beth at their homes, you know, talking, so it doesn't look silly? I don't know. That's just my opinion, because if you see Tom talking at the booth and all of a sudden you hear Mauro and Beth, but you don't see them anywhere, why not just show a live feed of them actually talking? I don't know. It just looks very weird. Pat McAfee, you know, said him and Adam Cole, you know, they're good now. They have a truce, whatever you want to call it. In the main event, you got Marcel Barthel and Fabian Aichner, the NXT Tag Team Champions from Imperium, defending against the Undisputed Era. Bobby Fish, and was it Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly? Yeah, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly showing off his majestic beard. Bobby Fish looking more and more like a dad more like the dad in a porn where he ends up fucking his daughter's best friend. And that's not a shot at him. The guy looks good for his age. The guy obviously takes care of himself, and the guy obviously doesn't care if he's growing gray. He's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna let the gray grow up. So good on him, man. And the guy can work. The guy can work like he's 30. The match was okay, but what was really centered around it was Pat McAfee at the announce booth talking shit. He's taking shots at Adam Cole, about his height. And, Tom Phillips is saying, Adam Cole can hear you, right? And, Pat McAfee's just like, I'm just kidding. And just playing the role of a troll. Like, he's being a troll. Which I found that interesting that now he's working heel. And, even Ronaldo and Beth Phoenix are getting pissed off at him. They're saying, stop being disrespectful, you're trolling us, blah, blah. The whole time, Adam Cole is looking over in the announce booth's direction, or the announcer's booth, direction, and then he walks over and says, I can hear everything you're saying, right? And, walks away, and then, Pat McAfee ends up does a reference from Elf, saying he's an angry elf. Out comes Liv Morgan. Doing a Riot Squad reunion. Damn, Liv Morgan looks good. She looks more and more good every time I see her. What was I saying? So Adam Cole walks over and they start a riot. Marcel and Aichner get the win. So there's a riot between... I'm saying riot. Now let's see the Riot Squad. There's a riot going on between Adam Cole and Pat McAfee. Triple H and Shawn Michaels walk out, try to break it up. Everybody tries to break it up. And then Pat McAfee calls him a bitch. He says, you'll always be a short little bitch. And then he literally punts him. And then Triple H actually shoves him, which I thought was interesting. I thought that was going to turn into a thing where McAfee tries to attack Triple H. But, Triple H shoves him and tells him, get the fuck out of here. I saw the show, and ends up, Pat McAfee saying, this is an unsafe working environment, something like that, and then just walks out. So that's how NXT ends. I thought that was interesting. It was a nice way to end. So now you have Adam Cole working babyface, which, after thinking about it, I like it because Adam Cole is actually a very nice person in real life. And he's out there playing this cocky, arrogant prick. Same thing with the other Undisputed Era guys. They're out there, playing heel, but they're actually good, nice guys in person. And it's just funny. It's like, we're the ass kickers. We run everything. We don't give a shit about anyone. We hate all of you. It's like, no, we actually like you guys. We want to cheer you. We like your merchandise. We actually, do the air guitar thing whenever you come out. Like, I like that they're making them the faces. I like it because these guys should get cheered. Adam Cole should get cheered. Adam Cole shouldn't be the heel for trying to defend himself. And Pat McAfee, playing the douchebag, shithead jock. And, they already announced it's going to be Pat McAfee versus Adam Cole at TakeOver 30, so I'm interested to see how that works because I don't know what they're trying to do here with this match. Because I don't know if this is going to be something they're going to use to, put on ESPN or Fox and say, ex-football player stepping in the wrestling ring. I don't know, but Pat McAfee, again, playing the role of an asshole very well. So it could work. I'm going to give it a chance. Will it be a barn burner? No, it won't. Probably not. But at best, it'll be an average match. It'll be an okay match. And you got a guy like Adam Cole who's going to carry him. I'm pretty sure Pat McAfee will do pretty well. Because of all the ex-football players we had in the ring, they haven't all been bad. I said haven't all. I mean, we've had some stinkers, but man, Ruby Riott really just pouring out the waterworks. She seems like, and that's actual emotion. So, yeah, Liv Morgan she has a good crying face. Like she's not doing the ugly crying face, Ruby Riott. That looks like genuine emotion because these guys are actually very good friends. I like when guys are actually. I like when people in the wrestling business, like tag teams and factions, actually get along. Like the New Day, the Riot Squad, maybe not the Shield because I think Moxley and Seth Rollins had problems, but I like these two together. So, where was I? Oh yeah, and Pat McAfee, Adam Cole. I'm not gonna shit on it. Maybe the match will be good. I mean, this is definitely something that'll bring more eyes and ears to NXT. So, got the Iconics coming out. Let me get to NXT real quick. I just gotta check a message. Okay. So, all right, AEW, which I actually watched right after NXT. I tried doing the whole flipping back and forth, but it was too much. So I just decided to just watch NXT first and watch AEW afterwards. Let's see, the first match you have on the card was a 12-man tag team match with the Elite and FTR versus the Dark Order, along with Colt Cabana, who, for whatever reason, is still wearing his Boom Boom tights. I thought the match was okay. Usually a lot of these big 10-man, 12-man, 14-man tag matches, they can go one or the other. They can be either really sloppy or just okay. I thought the match was okay. The Dark Order won, lead, pinning Adam Page, which it made sense because it's... So, alright, so what happened during the match was that one of the FTR guys got hurt. And then he got helped to the back by Adam Page. So it ended up just being Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. I thought it would have made more sense if, whatchamacallit, if the Dark Order had won that way, with it being 6-on-3. So that way, you can set up this obvious, split up and heel turn with Kenny Omega and Adam Page. So Adam Page, so Kenny Omega can just be like, why'd you leave us? You left us high and dry. You left me high and dry. We're tag team champions, dude. Like, what the fuck? And instead, Adam Page came back and he ended up taking the pin from Brody. Again, it made sense for the Dark Order to win because, you were a couple men down, but it would have made a bit more sense if Adam Page didn't come back. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. The Iconics just slapped the shit out of Kevin Owens. And now the Riot Squad minus Sarah Logan are attacking him. It's good to see the Riot Squad back. Minus Sarah Logan. Liv was not doing very well. I mean, it was good for her to develop a character. Yeah, the Dark Order won. Alright, so what was the next match? You have the Best Friends versus Santana and Ortiz. The Best Friends win. And after the match, Santana and Ortiz fucked up the minivan, which was Trent's mom's. Which I thought was interesting. And then the Best Friends tried to be serious, and then it just didn't help that they were saying, you don't mess with my mom's minivan. You're gonna, I promised I was gonna take care of this minivan. Like, it was just, it was hokey. It was dorky. MJF shows off his headquarters. Sammy Guevara lays on Matt Hardy. MJF, doing his political thing, setting up him and John Moxley's match at All Out, doing his best job to be a politician, and he makes a little comment because someone asks him, what if Darby Allin wins? He goes, "Oh no, not the 105-pound emo kid." It wouldn't surprise me if everybody in the locker room hated MJF. Maybe not everybody, but because MJF really makes it clear that he does not give a fuck about anybody. Like he does. It wouldn't surprise me if he hates most of the shit he sees on AEW. Because on the plus side for AEW, it allows guys a little bit more creative freedom. Because MJF would not work well in WWE because MJF does not need a script. The guy can actually talk. So it works for him. But it wouldn't surprise me if MJF, shits over everybody. Because he kind of takes little subtle shots at the company. So it wouldn't surprise me if other people hate him. Matt Hardy come out and talk a lot of shit. Or not really talk shit, but talk about Sammy Guevara, saying, I was gonna be his mentor. I was telling him to get out of the inner circle with Jericho, and then Sammy Guevara is hiding under the ring and attacks Matt Hardy. They fight outside. He ends up throwing him into the steel turnbuckle, busting open Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy bleeding profusely. So Sammy Guevara goes off the stage and hits him while he's on the table. So it was a nice segment. A lot of blood on the show. A lot of blood. A lot of segments with wrestlers bleeding. I'm interested in this feud because I like seeing Matt Hardy as just regular Matt Hardy. Broken Matt Hardy. It was cool 4 years ago, but it just doesn't work. It's goofy. It wasn't interesting. This was supposed to be a feud until Sammy Guevara got suspended, which he shouldn't have. Apparently, Matt Hardy was pissed off. He was not happy about the segment. Neither was Rebby. And on comicbook.com, here's what reportedly went wrong with the Sammy and Matt Hardy spot. Let's see. Scrap ended, blah, blah. Before that even happened, Matt Hardy was already busted. Hardy has already turned the incident into an angle, calling Guevara a dead man, blah, blah, blah. Brian Alvarez explained on the latest Wrestling Observer Live that the spot went mostly as planned, except Guevara was supposed to pick up a folding chair and throw it so Hardy could get his hand up and protect himself. Unfortunately, in the heat of the moment, Guevara couldn't handle a folding chair, panicked, and opted to throw one of the heavier chairs placed on the ringside. Hardy needed 13 stitches as a result and claimed in his video that he suffered a concussion. Austin Gunn, the son of Billy Gunn, on his Twitter, "Sammy, are you kidding me? Matt Hardy was trying to reason with you." Alvarez also noted that Wrestling Observer last night that Guevara got a very stern talking to from a number of people who were very upset with us backstage after the incident. "Sammy, you were already on my shit list," Hardy said in a video, his personal YouTube channel. "But now you just split open my face. If you thought this was real before, it's definitely real now, you little bitch. Sammy, I am not going to stop until I make you bleed, until I make you hurt." Oh, shit. "Sammy, your little ass is mine. I'm in pain. I'm hurting. I'm concussed right now. But I'm still clear enough mind to tell you that you're an endangered species. This shit just got real, man." Next week's AEW Dynamite will be dubbed Tag Team Appreciation Night. Next week's matches are TNT Championships, Cody Rhodes versus Scorpio Sky, Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus Jurassic Express, the Young Bucks versus Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, and the Rock and Roll Express special appearance. So we got that. Let's go back to AEW. So yeah, for that, it sucks for Sammy because he just got suspended. Now he's in trouble again. You know what? I doubt Sammy did that with malice. I doubt Sammy, did that or went in there and went in business for himself. Like I said, something was supposed to happen, and he got in the heat of the moment, and shit happens. That's wrestling. I mean, that's wrestling. Shit happens. People get hurt. People get cut open. Matt Hardy should know that. I mean, I don't blame Matt for being mad because he's a young guy. Sammy's a young guy, and made a mistake. And I don't blame him for getting mad. I don't think Sammy should get in trouble. You know what I mean? But hey, shit happens. It's wrestling. But it was nice. It was nice seeing some blood. Cody and Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder, versus John Silver and Alex Reynolds from the Dark Order. Getting a sip of my tea. Matt Cardona making his debut. Matt Cardona with the biggest entrance he's ever had. Out to prove himself. Didn't do too bad. I thought he didn't go out there and light the world on fire, but he had a good match. He's got years of undoing. Maybe I don't want to put it that way. In the WWE, his whole gimmick was, he was a guy from the Jersey Shore. Like, that was basically his gimmick. He was Jersey Shore, and that was basically his gimmick. He was the silly guy. He had a silly gimmick in the WWE, and now I'm not sure what he can be because he obviously can't be Long Island IZ. And he said in an interview a while back that he wasn't going to do that gimmick anymore. But for the casual fans who watch WWE and see AEW, they're going to see him and go, "Hey, that guy used to have spiky hair. That was the guy that went woo woo woo. That was the guy who acted like he was in Jersey Shore." So he's got a lot. He's got a lot to prove himself because he's obviously going to be playing a different gimmick, whatever it is. But yeah, he didn't do bad in his debut. He did pretty good. I don't want to say they're fans. I mean, I think there's some fans that are being led to attendance. I think they're like friends and family of the wrestlers and the crew that work there. So the fans, if we want to call them that, they seem happy to see Cardona. So yeah, Cardona and Cody won, which was expected. And then as Cody is going off the ramp, Scorpio Sky, confronts him and says, I want to... He doesn't really say anything, but he just looks at Cody's title. And then, the match is made next week, Scorpio Sky versus Cody, which, should be a good match, Scorpio Sky is good talent. Haven't seen him in a while, though. But, it's good to see. It's good to see him. Hopefully the match will be good, which it should be. Next we have the debate, Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy. Did I just call her Charlie Murphy? Charlie Murphy! What if I think say the face slap? Charlie Caruso is backstage, seeing all the equipment being fucked with. There was a group that was fucking with everything. I think they're called Retribution. Something, I don't know. But anyways, the debate. You got Jericho. The moderator ended up being Eric Bischoff, which was the rumor. And then it got confirmed. Eric Bischoff comes out. Which, he did alright. He didn't really have to do too much. I think he could have really put anyone in that role and they would have just done what they did. But so it's just, Eric Bischoff, asking questions, basic questions, and, Chris Jericho would pretend that sorry, I had the microphone all the way down here. Chris Jericho pretending that he's Jim Cornette. He's doing his best Jim Cornette impression. And talking shit about Orange Cassidy, saying that he's an embarrassment to the wrestling business, and I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kick your ass, and I wish you were dead. Orange Cassidy wouldn't say anything. Finally, they get to a random question talking about the ozone layer, forest, or I forgot what it was. Jericho's like, "What kind of question was that?" And Orange Cassidy gets on, talks, and gives like a very educated, philosophical answer. And they go to Jericho, and he's continuing to talk shit. Orange Cassidy doesn't talk. They get to the final question, and then Orange Cassidy just... First time I ever really heard him talk, which was interesting because, his whole thing is that he doesn't talk. I guess it's like a Silent Bob type of thing where he talks when he has to. Like, if he's getting very flustered and annoyed by everything, he's going to talk. So he talks and says, next week you better look at my face because next week you're going to realize I'm the guy that beat you. The guy who puts his hands in his pockets, is going to beat you. I mean, and that's really the promo. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. So Jake Hager, blindsides Orange Cassidy. He puts his hands in his pockets while he's knocked out, and Jericho gives him the Judas effect, which is the worst move in wrestling right now. It's like, how is it nobody can kick out of the Judas effect? It's a spinning four. So whatever. It's probably worse than that move John Cena was trying to do. So we got that to look forward to next week. Big Swole versus Reba, who was Britt Baker's manager or bodyguard or whatever. I fast forward this. I didn't care. I like Britt Baker. I like her heel role because she seems like she's a lot more comfortable in it. So then you have the main event, which is Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin for the AEW Championship. Early in the night, Jon Moxley, surprisingly, he cut a very good promo. I don't want to say surprisingly because Jon Moxley is capable of cutting good promos, but lately he's been doing a lot of Dean Ambrose shtick. I said last week Jon Moxley is actually, he's Dean Ambrose with fake barbed wire. Drew McIntyre is cutting a promo, which I can't hear because of the volume. I heard he got a pretty good promo on Orton. Anyways, he's on the steps, talking about Darby Allin, pretty much just saying, listen, once you're down, just stay down. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you more than I have to. I'm not afraid to hurt you, but I like you too much to hurt. Saying, if once I put you in a submission hold, you better tap. Don't get up. I don't want to be responsible for ending your career. So they have the match, which I'm surprised it wasn't a hardcore match because these two seem to work better in hard. This seems more idealistically like a hardcore match. I gotta say, this seems more like a hardcore match. But maybe that's pay-per-view down the line. Alright, so they have their match. And I know I'm not the biggest Darby Allin fan. I've made it clear before. I'm not a fan of his. This was actually a very good match. I actually enjoyed it. These two surprisingly work very well together. A lot of blood in this. Darby Allin got punched in the face. I don't know if he got punched for real or prepared himself, but bleeding from his mouth. And then we'll get to the spot with MJF in a bit. Very good back and forth between these two. It was believable. During it, Dean Ambrose, not Dean, Moxley had Allin in a submission and was a sleeper. And Darby Allin got out, and Moxley telling Darby, if I tell you to tap, you better tap. Wardlow came out and distracted the ref. MJF came out and hit Moxley with the belt, busting Moxley up. So it was good. So more blood. And I liked it. I was fine with it. It wasn't too over the top. Whatchamacallit. Allin goes for a coffin drop. For a second, I thought he was going to win. For a second. I honestly thought he was going to win. Moxley kicks out. Moxley goes for a submission. And he's covered in blood, and blood dripping down from his arm and onto Darby's face. Darby somehow gets out. And Moxley goes for the paradigm shift, 1, 2, 3. And after the match, he ends up, holding Allen. And there's that image of him, kind of cradling him. Which, I'm not sure how to feel about that. It's interesting. I think if you didn't know anything about the feud or these guys, you would think that's beautiful. But Moxley's whole thing is he doesn't really give a shit about, anyone. Whether it's a heel or a face, he's going to beat the shit out of him. What the fuck is with Ric Flair? Oh, no, that's just a shadow on his face. Moxley's whole thing is I don't care if you're a heel or a face, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. It's like when him and Kenny Omega, they beat the shit out of each other. And Kenny was even like, "How's John doing?" So that's John Moxley's shtick, but he has a soft spot for Darby Allin, which I don't get. So that was AEW. I thought it was good. It was a very good AEW. A lot of blood, good segments. The only thing I didn't watch was a women's match. I don't care. I don't care for the women's division. So let's go to the ratings, shall we? AEW wins again. They drew 901,000, which is up from last week. And NXT drew 753,000, which is up from last week. AEW ranked number 5 in the cable top 150, while NXT ranked number 27. Last week's Dynamite drew 773,000. Last week's NXT drew 707,000. This is the best AEW Dynamite viewership since March 14th post-Revolution episode, which drew 906,000. This is also the best 18 to 49 demographic rating since the February 5th episode, which also drew a .36 rating. And the key demo, Jericho had that on his Twitter. He put .36 demo god. AEW drew a .36 rating in the 18-49 demographic, while NXT drew .20 in the same demo this week. Last week's AEW show drew a .30 rating. We don't really need to talk about that. The NBA and ESPN at 6:45 topped the night in the 18-49 demographic on the cable top 150 with a .51 rating with just 1.193 million viewers. Hannity on Fox News topped the night on cable and viewership with 3.968 million viewers, ranking number 6 on the cable top 150 with a .34 rating. The key demo, based on the overnight numbers, Big Brother on CBS topped the night on network TV and viewership with an average of 3.972 million viewers. Big Brother also took the number 1 spot in the 18 to 49 demographic with a 1.1 rating for the first hour. So there's that. And there was news coming out. AEW fans, I believe it's next week. For the next 3 weeks, do the NBA playoffs. Or I don't think it's next week, but I think it's the week after. AEW will be moving to different nights, so let's hold on. I should have had this up already. All right, AEW schedule on TNT due to NBA playoffs. Let's see. The August 19th edition of AEW... Oh my God, I can't talk tonight. AEW Dynamite will air on Saturday, August 22nd at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, which is actually the same night as NXT TakeOver 30, so that's interesting. The August 26th edition will air Thursday, August 27th at 8 p.m., and the September 16th edition will air Thursday, September 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The interesting thing about this August 22nd edition is it will air same time as NXT TakeOver, which was shown on the WWE Network. However, NXT TakeOver will start at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which means the show will still be going on since once AEW ends. So we got that to look forward to, which I'll be interested to see how that goes. I imagine ratings won't really be a thing because it's a pay-per-view. It'll be more about buys, but again, it's a streaming service, so I guess they're going to have streams. I don't know about this shit. Someone's going to have to educate me a little bit more on this. It'll be interesting to see how AEW does on a Saturday night, because I forget who they suggested wrestling should really be on different nights. AEW should be on a Saturday night, or NXT should be on a Saturday night. But don't put them head to head. Put them at different times. Like, put wrestling on weekends. Put AEW at 7 p.m., 6 or 7 p.m., and put NXT like sometime in the afternoon. You know, like, it could work. Or put NXT on Friday nights. Put NXT on Friday nights. Put AEW on Saturday nights. And since AEW does their pay-per-views on Saturday, that could be their thing. Like, there's always going to be an AEW show every Saturday night, whether it's a pay-per-view or a regular show. You know what I mean? And also, if they're going to have a pay-per-view, since they're going to stick to Saturday night pay-per-views, they could have like a AEW pre-show during the day, setting up the pay-per-view. Or fuck it, put the pay-per-view on Sundays. Like, that makes more sense. Like, the AEW show can be on Saturday, but it's more of a setting up thing. And then the actual pay-per-view is Sunday. Just an opinion. And then NXT can be on Fridays. Put wrestling back on Fridays. Because surprisingly, SmackDown did pretty well on Fridays. Surprising. So, what else can we talk about? I had something else up. I don't know. I forgot what it was. That's pretty much all the wrestling that we can talk about. So, I guess non-wrestling related. So yeah, so now if you have the Disney Plus app, which I imagine everybody does, they have now moved. They've moved Mulan to the Disney Plus app, which will air September 4th with a fee, with a $29.99 fee. It'll still air in theaters. It's going to come out in theaters and on Disney Plus on the same day, but only in select theaters, which makes sense because there are still theaters out there that are open. I know there's some in San Antonio that are open. I mean, they're not playing anything new. I mean, they are playing new movies, but more like indie films that not many people that weren't going to make too much money. They're only going to come out in select theaters, which I'm fine with. Don't just put all movies on streaming services, because at the end of the day, these companies still need to make money back. They still need to bring in their revenue. But one thing I pointed out was in a conversation with somebody was, you look at Netflix. Netflix is doing just fine, going off of streaming, because they had that movie with Hemsworth come out where he was basically doing his best impersonation of John Wick. And then they had that movie with Charlize Theron, which I need to finish it because I actually fell asleep during it. Not because it was bad, but because I was just tired. And the Hemsworth movie, I think, brought him in 80 million, I forget the actual number. Hold on, I need to pull this up. Give me 1 second. I was looking for the list, so I just paused it for a bit. That's what I like about Audacity, is that you can record, you can pause, and then you can just come back. And there's not a lot dead here. So I'm going off the top 10 most watched Netflix movies, and also how many viewers they had. Number 10 is The Perfect Date, which had 48 million viewers. I never even heard of that. The Platform, 56 million viewers. Never heard of that. Number 8 is The Wrong Missy, 59 million viewers. I think that's the one Roman Reigns had like a cameo in, because I remember somebody showed a clip of, because it has David Spade in it, and him and Roman Reigns are like talking shit to each other. So, number 7 is Triple Frontier with 63 million viewers. That was actually very good. I know a lot of people who didn't care for it. I liked it. It's with Ben Affleck and Charlie Hunnam. It's a pretty big cast. Number 6 is The Irishman with 64 million viewers. Everybody was just, pissing their pants about how good that movie was. So, Number 5 was Murder Mystery with $73 million with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. Number 4 is Six Underground with Ryan Reynolds. Didn't care for that. Spencer Confidential, $85 million. Number 3, Mark Wahlberg and M'Baku from Black Panther. Number 2 is Bird Box with $89 million. That was huge. Number 1 is Extraction with 99 million viewers. Jeez. And I know it was announced last week that they were. I think they're about to have a big. Probably they're about to make a movie with Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling. We were just talking about Ryan Gosling accidentally, where it's going to be probably the biggest budget that they've done for a Netflix movie, which, from what I heard, was $223 million. So that's big for Netflix. And I'm fine with Mulan coming to Disney Plus. I mean, I'll be fine with Black Widow coming to Disney Plus because, and also, be released in select theaters. I'm fine with that. They're bigger movies it makes sense because they released some movies on Disney Plus and didn't really charge them. It didn't charge them. There was that, that Artemis Fowl movie, which everyone says was complete, ass. The Hamilton movie, which it was, to my understanding, it was going to be released in select theaters anyway, so they weren't really looking at it as like, oh, this is going to make a shit ton of money for us. They're big movies like the Disney, remakes and the Marvel movies, anything Star Wars related. Those are going to be movies they're going to want to make money off of. So, I even made that suggestion a while back, which was, a movie like Black Widow, release it on VOD, release it on Disney Plus, and charge money for it. Especially if you're going to put it on Disney Plus, charge money for it. I didn't expect $30, but hey, I mean that's reasonable. That's fine, and it's also not a thing of like you're not renting it, you're actually buying it, so you can watch it after that as many times as you want. And it's Disney. People are gonna watch it. They're gonna make a shit ton of money off of it. I was talking about this with one of my followers on Twitter, John. John, that's something in my throat. Sorry. And he was saying that Disney's gonna lose a lot of money off of this. And I understood where he was coming from. I get it. I countered back with Disney's. You can say what you want about Disney. They're not dumb. They know how to market. They know how to make their money. I mean, not saying all their ideas have been great, but they know how to make their money. Because we don't know how long this pandemic is going to last. And even if it ends, we don't know how long COVID's going to be. COVID's going to be here for years, even after the pandemic is done. And, a lot of these states are given the go-ahead for theaters to open. Theaters are like, no, we're not opening. We're still going to stay closed. Because we still don't feel safe. So it's smart to put a big movie like this on VOD, on demand, on Disney Plus, and hopefully they do the same thing with Black Widow because I want to see that movie. Ever since I saw the previews, I want to see it. It looks interesting. It looks very good. I mean, yeah, I'm a Marvel fanboy, so what? But that's a movie people want to see. They're big. They're big cash cows like Marvel or the Disney remakes and Star Wars. Those are the movies they're going to want to make their money off of because they know people will see it. They know people are going to want to empty out their pockets and see it. And trust me, people are going to empty out their pockets to pay $30 to watch Mulan from home because not everyone's going to feel safe going back to the movie theaters, even though it's in select theaters. Or even if this pandemic ends, not a lot of people are going to feel safe going to movie theaters. And I don't blame them because you want the movie theater experience for a lot of these movies, but at the end of the day, it's safer to just stay home and watch these movies. It's safer for everybody, for their families, for everybody. You know what I mean? But now we got R-Truth running out with the 24/7 title that He obviously stole from Shelton Benjamin. Running away from Shelton Benjamin and Akira Tozawa and his ninjas. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much the non-wrestling news I had related. What else can we talk about? I'm just making random noises. It's already 7:14 p.m. Wrestling Soup. I will be starting in about an hour and a half. So, yeah, next week Kevin Castle will be on the show. He kind of threw his name. He pretty much just said, "I want to be on your show, fucker." He didn't say that, but he just said, "Yeah, I'd love to be on your show again, man." So, yeah, Kevin Castle. I'm going to talk to him, which shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, we're gonna. I just need to talk to him first before I actually make it official. But yeah, Kevin Castle will be on the show next week. There's a lot of people I would love to have back on, and there's people I would love to have on. Obviously, been dying to get Trez back on, but Trez, she got the job, so it's all a matter of working with her schedule. Been wanting to get John Draper back on, but he's ducking me. I think he's ducking me. Mish will be fun to have back on. Angie Garlic is always fun to have back on. Ruben Prime, same thing. There's a lot of people I'd love to have on the show. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the rest of the show. I just talked about Mish and John Draper. Wrestling Soup, which will be on in about an hour and a half. Check them out every Thursday. Make sure to go to their Patreon for just $5. And you got DTKC with Don Tony and Kevin Castle every Monday after Raw. You can hear them on Mixler or Discord if you're signed up to their Patreon for just $5. And then Trez, who's also on KNT Chronicles with Kev, which is a Patreon exclusive. Sorry about that. False Count Radio with Angie Karlik. They just put out a new episode, Wrestling Court with Julian and Rob. I think the episode with me just came out, which I did 2 weeks ago. Julian's a busy boy, by the way, so I don't really hold that. I don't hold that against him at all. So you got Yuck Nasty and Dogger Baby with Get in the Corner. I hope Yuck is okay. I hope Yuck isn't mad at me. I hope he didn't do anything to piss him off. I'm trying to get a hold of him about this new theme that he's supposed to make for me a while back. You got Wrestling Overdose and Wrestling Overdose with Shaheen, another good friend. He's already made two logos. He's already made two different sets of artwork for me for the show. He's currently making another one, so look out for that. He also does another podcast with a good friend of the show, Jeff Littman, which is called, and I don't know why I'm forgetting the name. It's on Spreaker. It is called, wait for it, The Garden of Doom. Him and Jeff Littman. So look for that. Brian J., another good friend of the show. He has two podcasts. He has Horror and Wrestling Reanimated. Horror Reanimated and Wrestling Reanimated. Both are basically what-if scenarios, because I was on a show for Wrestling Reanimated, and we booked we rebooked the Invasioning and how it could have worked. And in our eyes, not realistic, because realistically, it didn't work for 1,000 reasons, but, contracts prevented a lot of bigger stars from making it a lot more interesting. Money came in the way of it. But we booked it in our eyes, what if this didn't happen? What if this happened? So, and Ruben Prime, I just mentioned him, another good friend of the show. Listen to his podcast. You can find it on Spotify. Another good friend of mine who has a podcast, which you can find on Spotify. Her name is Relly H. It's called Dimension Unusual. So if you're a fan of serial killers, which a lot of us are, they go over serial killers. So listen to them. I believe they just had a new episode that came out. You got Texas Podcast Massacre. If you're a fan of horror movies, old and new, good and bad, these guys make it interesting. It's very fun. It's fun. It's a funny show. They make it funny. it's relatable because it's just a couple people in the room talking about horror movies and making fun of the bad ones. So they're even making fun of the good ones. So it's a good show. I've been on it a few times. Hopefully I'm invited back, which I know I should be, but I don't know. I talk down on myself a lot, which I should. And pretty much anyone else that has a podcast. If you know anyone else that has a podcast, show them some love. But I'll be back next week with Kevin Castle. What will we talk about? I don't know. It'll be pre-recorded, so if you follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, The Drew Yari Show, send in your questions that you have for either me or Kevin. And Raw Underground is about to start. And here's Shano. But, that's it. That's the show. And I'll be back next week, again, with Kevin Castle. So look out for that. And take care, and peace out.